Now we're starting. I probably should have told you we're about to start. Okay. Hello, hello, hello. This is episode 105 of the Mental Threads podcast. Yeah, I didn't tell you how many episodes I've been doing for this for a while, have I? I'm here with a very special guest. I met her off a group chat and everything, 24 and plus. Does she like to state her name? Because I don't want to butcher it again.
Hi, everyone. Yes, we spent like 5 minutes trying to coach him on my name. My first name is Mireya. My last name is Esquivel. And I got to add Barbosa because Esquivel is my dad's last name. You know, as Mexicans, you have three names for sure. Your first name, your father's last name, and your mother's last name. Middle names are optional. Okay. So my mom, low-key, like she'll pinch me when I introduce myself as just Mireya Esquivel, because she's like, don't forget my last name. You got my last name too. So let me backtrack. Hi, everyone. My name is Mireya Esquivel Barbosa. What else do I say? I'm from Charlotte. Well, I was born in Mexico.
Okay.
I was born and raised. I moved to the U.S. when I was 7. We moved to Charlotte. So Charlotte has been home for the last 21 years. Yes, I'm 28.
Yeah, I don't know why she's the problem with being 28. Being 28 is cool, I guess. I mean, if you're living well off and everything, you live by yourself, right?
Well, okay, I will say I am so blessed to be 28. Not a lot of people reach this age, especially no kids. I don't have kids. I don't have a husband. I don't have any debt. I'm living a good life. Okay. And that's in part to, my parents. They did a great job. Mm-hmm. But also me. So it's not a bad thing that I'm 28, but also a 28-year-old woman, single. Yes, I'm living the life, but then people looking at me like, if you go on a date, for example, they'll be like, well, what's wrong with you? You 28, you ain't got kids, you ain't married. What's wrong with you?
It's just this generation. This generation's weird. Everything's expensive and everything. It's hard to kind of settle down. Everyone's just trying to figure out themselves. Don't take anything. It's not a big deal, honestly. It's better to just wait for the right person, because we all live in stages and in phases and everything. Like, like I'm 24 and I thought I'd have everything figured out by now, but it's like I'm at a transitional thing. I don't start my new job to like with Novant Health to like next week and everything. I'll be a care associate for a little bit. I'm trying to boost up to marketing coordinator, but I got to start with that and everything. So it's like,
but you're on the path, and see, that's the thing. We're on the path. We're not quite there yet, but we're on the path. And in the meantime, we're living life. I know I'm living life. I don't know you, Toasty, but I'm living life. I'm living a good damn life.
And nothing to feel anything about it. It is what it is. Miss Mireya. I know
you
that's
got it right. No, you got it right.
Mireya. Good. Yes. I got it right. Is there like, does Mireya mean anything, or is it just a mixture of things?
So no, yeah, it means something actually. Yeah, it means admired or look at her.
Oh.
Right. My mom, I was her first child. First time moms, they are so corny. Oh. I'll be the first to admit it. First time, she's like, ever since I found out it was a girl, I just knew that I would want people to just look at her and say, wow, and just admire you. And I'm like, okay, Mom.
I think it worked. You're admirable.
She is so funny. Thank you, Toasty. She is so funny. But I'm like, okay, I don't, no complaints. Okay. I love my name. Okay. I love that it's so unique. I love that people don't necessarily know where it comes from, don't necessarily, and I have to teach them it's Mireya. It's not Mireya. It's not Mireya. It's not my Ray. I don't know. I've gotten so many different variations.
It's all right. It sounds pretty close to Mariah a whole lot.
Sure
does. I would think maybe it's a deviation off Mariah. I didn't think it was like a completely different word on its own.
No, it's completely different. Absolutely different. Yeah.
It's still nice. It's still very nice. I know it's a good conversation starter for sure and everything, especially with my name, because I'm African, Liberian to be specific. So it's just like, when my parents said, they named me T Dolake Safely.
Oh, wow.
So it's like, so I don't know. It means a lot. The first name is T, so it's like not much. I'm just T and then 2 E's. That's it. Right. Middle name Dolake and the last name is Safely. It means a whole lot of things. The first name T is actually a deviation for our native language of Black. Oh. And then it's like my middle name Dolake actually is a phrase which actually means one can't make it alone.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Okay. Togetherness is key to progress, essentially. Yeah. So it's like and also my last name is 2 words put together, Safely. Which is because my grandfather on my dad's name was actually named Say Feely, but it's like they kind of put the names together and now it's our last name. So it's like Say Feely. So it's like first part is Say, what you would name your firstborn son.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And then Feely is like what is a word which means the morning dew on the grass and everything.
The
in the
morning dew on the grass.
Yeah, basically.
It's so poetic. Your names are so poetic. Mine literally just admired. Look at her.
That's good. I mean, it's all about energy.
Good,
It's
right? But
yeah.
yours are so poetic. You can find all of these things in one poem.
Yeah, I know.
That's beautiful.
But the cool thing about like even with African kids' names and everything, like I feel like a lot of like that kind of reflects our personality growing up and everything.
Okay.
You know, like growing like the older I got, the more I realized that it's just like I always wanted to like unify my community, the Liberian community, and always try to like that's why I went into business too, to give them more opportunities in terms of just for people back home if they could touch the states or have a job and a car and everything. I try to be able to get their life set up here without having to struggle.
Right.
For immigrants, it's always going to be like an issue.
It is always an issue. Absolutely. No, and I can definitely attest to that. You know, I was 7 when, as I mentioned, with me, and at the time it was just me, my mom, and my dad who moved from Mexico to the U.S. My brother, I do have a brother, he was born here in the States, but for us, it was such an adjustment. I mean, as a child, everything is new. It's a new adventure. So all I knew was that we were going to some new place. And I was like, okay, great. And my dad told me, like, we're going to Disneyland. And I was like, yay. That's all I knew as a 7-year-old. As a 7-year-old, that's all I knew. And but no, it was a huge adjustment. My parents, you know, immigrants. My dad was working day in and day out to be able to provide us with a roof over our heads. My mom at the time wasn't working because she got pregnant with my brother almost right away. And so, but she was literally, she did not speak any English, and she would spend hours, I kid you not, hours with me after school. After my school day was over, I would come home because I had to do homework. You know, I saw kids do. And her English, because mine, I was a little girl. I definitely didn't know any English. I was still learning. My mom didn't either.
You know a lot now, though.
I do a lot now. I think I'm making up for those years that I didn't speak any English. But my mom would literally have a dictionary, an English an English to Spanish dictionary. When I tell you, she would look up every single word by word on that worksheet that I had to complete for my homework, and she would translate it on a separate sheet of paper, and then finally she'd be like, okay, I think this is what it says. Now we can go ahead and get started working on it. Now I can teach you. It's so crazy to think like you don't realize those things. I feel like a lot of people don't. They are aware of the immigrant struggles, but little stories like that, you would never know that. And that's something that I cherish. It's so near and dear to my heart. Like to the day, sometimes just looking at my mom, I'm like, this woman would really stay up like hours after she had cooked a full dinner, a full course meal for her family. She would stay up hours translating the entire worksheet word by word so that her daughter could turn in her homework the next day.
That's good. That's actually very good. That's a whole lot of dedication for sure.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And it's just, and so I applaud you, Toasty, for wanting to give back to your community and for making sure that some Nigerian immigrants that you might know of.
Liberian.
Liberian? I'm so sorry.
Okay. No, that's no problem. That's no problem.
Oh, no, I butchered it. I'm sorry.
It's okay. One for one.
Oh, gosh.
Your name and then my culture.
And then, okay, so we're even now.
We're even.
Okay, let's not mess anything up from here on out.
We'll try our best.
We'll try our best. We're only human. But no, I applaud you for that. I think that's beautiful. And that's also something that I try to do as well. I love giving back to my community. Even right now at my job, I'm a bilingual customer service rep, and I work with Principal Financial Group. So I handle employees' 401k accounts. And I love speaking to my people, other Hispanic people who, mind you, they have never even heard of a 401k because they don't come from that background. Mom and dad didn't have a 401k. What is a 401k? I love educating them and telling them, this is something for your retirement. Come tomorrow. There's different investment options. There's the pre-K, the pre-tax, just informing them so that they can make an educated decision, not necessarily forcing them to open a 401k because it's not everyone's cup of tea, but at least letting them know this is something that your employer is offering. This is, just giving them those tools to make an educated decision as opposed to not even knowing what that is to begin with, So I absolutely, I love that I get to do that through my job. I love that I get to have these conversations and educate my people. Knowledge is power,
And
you
knowledge
know?
is and knowledge, and it's good that you're actually good to like apply it within your community. Because I live on East Side Charlotte, so it's just like it's a very
Oh,
heavy Hispanic
yes,
community over there and
it sure
everything.
is.
And I'll be walking down like, especially with Central and everything, there'll be
Oh,
like stuff like the credit unions. You have your
hmm
own what are those places called? You go get your car fixed or whatever. What is it
the
called?
mechanic?
Yeah,
The,
mechanic
uh-huh.
plays the whole like what is
hmm
it called? What is the place they work at? What is it called? Like
Um, what is it called?
yeah, what is it? I just literally forgot. Like I live on the tip of my
The
tongue.
mechanic shop?
The shop. We'll just say you got your own
The
car
shop.
fixing
Yeah,
shop,
yeah.
and y'all have like your own restaurants and everything,
hmm
laundromats and
hmm
stuff of that nature. Y'all are very entrepreneurially like
hmm
dedicated, like dead set on stuff like entrepreneurship and
No,
everything.
absolutely.
Yeah,
That's part
yeah.
of the mentality. It's you come to another country, and mind you, I do understand it's not everyone's case. I know that there are some of my own people out there giving us a bad name who are not being law abiding citizens. I get that. I absolutely get that.
Mm,
But there's also some people who literally we're here to progress. We're here to do better for this community, do better for this country, because in some cases, not necessarily for me, but in some of my I have friends who literally left crime ridden countries, or not countries, I'm sorry, crime ridden states, crime
mm,
ridden cities,
mm,
where literally if you did not move out of there at age 15, you could end up dead on the side of the street just
wow.
because of the crime that's going on. So they come to the US and they're actually, this country is giving me a second chance. Why wouldn't I want to
And
improve on it? Why wouldn't I want to contribute to it?
yeah, and we got more than enough space. Like literally, you walk out to Wyoming and it's like there's nothing but space over
It's all
there.
planes.
It's literally all there. So it's like I guess it's just that fear because like we do live in a capitalistic society,
Mhm.
and it's just like some people just kind of fear competition. So it's
Of
like they kind
course.
of pour that blame and just like okay, the Mexicans are taking all the jobs, blah
Mhm.
blah blah. But it's like, are y'all filling up these shows? Because somebody's got to do them, and y'all do them.
Exactly.
Y'all do the best to the best of
Exactly.
y'all like ability and everything. And it's just like
Absolutely.
that's just something you just have to acknowledge. But that's not even the case. It's why jobs is so hard to find jobs
Right.
because a lot of that is reflected on just how the trends change for technology and stuff of that nature.
Mhm.
Like we don't have factories like we used to. Now it's like
Right.
computers can do a lot more of the jobs that they used to.
Exactly.
And a lot of this happened in the 80s and 90s and carrying it on. It
Mhm.
just kind of closed over time. Detroit, it happened even to Detroit where they have like, big motor city,
Right.
big factories for building cars. And then it
Mhm.
started getting more outsourced. It started becoming a little bit easier to make machines. And then people started being out of jobs. And that whole city becomes like a ghost town to a certain
Absolutely.
degree. Not entirely. I haven't been out there. But I'm just saying, for an
I've
example,
never been to Detroit.
neither have I. But it's I watched a documentary and everything
Right.
about why there's so many like abandoned buildings and everything of that
Mhm.
nature, and that's one of the main reasons why it has to come
Right.
down to stuff of that nature. So it's just something to keep in mind and everything.
Mhm.
It's good that you actually. One thing I really respect about the Mexican and Hispanic community is that like really like they really like that's one of the things that kind of like pushes me too. Is that y'all really set like the trend to actually establish opportunities for y'all people too
Absolutely.
and everything. So it's just like, although I did feel like kind of like a fish out of water while I was working at Compare Foods. I mean, it was a good first job, but it was like a whole lot of things I had to deal with and everything in
Mhm.
regards to like racism, discrimination. I
Mhm.
think I bagged up one woman, I think she was Venezuelan and everything. I bagged up all her stuff and she like said, "Gracias el coloroso." And I'm like, wow. Like, what was the point in that? Like what kind of brownie points do you get out of saying stuff like that? And then that further asking me, oh, you don't speak Espanol? Like,
Mhm.
no, I don't. Like, I can read through it, but it's like I
Mhm.
can't do nothing. Because if I get angry, it's like, oh, the angry black kid. He's doing
Mhm.
angry things and everything. I was
Mhm.
17, so I didn't really know exactly how to deal with that situation. So I got a lot of
Right.
discrimination for that for no reason.
And I will say it's so unfortunate, but some of the worst racism that I have experienced in my life is from my own people, from
Mm,
other Hispanics, from other Mexicans. And it's quite unfortunate. It doesn't make sense to me because at the core of it, we are also minorities. We're minorities. You're a minority. I'm a minority. We need to be linking up, chain to, like, arm to arm in a chain. We need to protect each other. We
More
need
supportive of each other.
to be supportive of each other.
And a lot of us have the
Absolutely.
same like interests. Like I know with
Right.
y'all have like luchadors and everything. And we
Right.
like wrestling here and
Mhm.
everything. We all love Selena Quinton.
Oh my
Everybody
gosh!
does. So it's like literally.
R.I.P. Oh.
I think what is Yolanda Sullivan? Was she getting out this year or sometime next year? I don't know.
2025.
Oh yeah,
And
you
I'm
know things
booking,
like-
and I'm booking a one round trip for one day. I am going in. I am throwing, because I'm not about to do anything to this lady. I'm throwing a tomato at her, a rotten tomato,
Got
as soon
to.
as she gets out of jail.
Got to.
And then I'm coming back to Charlotte.
Got to. Just one
Just,
good run.
just one
Just one
juicy rotten tomato.
Well, then you have to get in line. I feel like everybody has the same. It's like, oh, you
Well,
got
see,
tomatoes too. It's like,
That's why I'm only bringing one, because I know I'm not the only one. I know there's going to be like hundreds of other people also throwing rotten tomatoes at her.
really just keep living out her whole sentence. She took this girl's life and everything
Mhm.
over some nonsense.
Nonsense, literally.
And still went to jail and served her time, is about to get out, thinking we're gonna
Mhm.
forget. I don't know.
No.
That's the thing, like even black people, like we really do ride with Selena. That's why I'm like, why don't we all just link up on
Selena,
that? We do
right.
appreciate that. We take
We
loyalty
love her.
and we do
Right.
adore. And she did love Diana Ross and stuff growing
Yeah,
up.
she
So it's like,
did. And also
yeah.
she covered several so what is her name, also from Diana Ross's era,
Summer Donna Summer.
Donna Summer.
Yeah, Donna Summer.
Yes, she also loved Donna Summer. She actually covered a few of her songs in a few of her albums. So we need to take a page from Selena. We need to love each other and support each other.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, it's, as I was mentioning before, it's hurt people hurting other people.
Yeah.
We do also get a lot of racism sent our way. We also get a lot of prejudice, and so we turn around and give that to others, which is not a justification by any means, but it's definitely unfortunate. I do wish that our people were more open to other cultures, especially other minorities.
Because y'all are kind of mixing y'all. So Mexican's not just a race. I know it has Mayan, there's European, and there's also African ancestry in there too somewhere. I think, don't you have a president by the name of Victor Guerrero, I think?
Our current president is Obrador, is his last name.
No, I meant in the past there was like a president called Victor Guerrero or something. We can look it up like afterward, but I know for a fact y'all had a black president for sure, and his name was Victor Guerrero. I know, because I looked at it, I'm like, that is so crazy.
You might be teaching me something. I had no idea.
That's just one president. You never know. I mean, how many presidents has Mexico had so far?
A lot.
A lot.
Mind you, not as many. The Mexican president's term is 6 years, but they can only serve one term.
Really?
So,
okay. Seriously?
Right, yes. So...
Oh, sorry, my bad. It's just one of my uncle. We're going to have to call it. All right, there we go. My bad. Why they call on them so random? I never hear from people in forever and be like, oh, yeah, call them.
When you're doing something important, that's when they want to call and try to check up on you.
If he calls again, we might have to pause. I might have to take
Okay.
this. But it's like, it's just going to suck because then I have to put like the MP3s together to see like now he's calling again.
Do you need me to get out of the car while you handle this?
No. He's going to have to talk some other time because like literally like I can't. I'm asleep now. I'm asleep.
Okay.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
That's
okay.
It's okay. Don't even worry about
Are you
it.
sure?
If it was something, if it was emergency, he will leave me a text. But I doubt there's any emergency, so it's fine.
Okay.
It's okay. It's all good. I'm sure.
Okay.
For sure.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure he just wants to talk about something else. It's all right.
Okay.
But it ain't no big deal. Okay, back to the situation at hand. Because I know we spoke a little bit of like Selena Quintanilla and everything. And it's just like, I always found it strange because we have a whole lot of respect for a lot of figures, Mexican figures and everything, especially like, I was a big wrestling fan. So, the Rey Mysterios, the Eddie Guerreros, Chavo Guerrero, although he probably wasn't as big as like his uncle, but still at the same time, it's just like there's a lot with that I really identify with, that energy and everything of that nature. I thought was really, really amazing and stuff. And it's just like, why don't we really like connect more on things like that? Because I know there's a lot of Mexicans that like hip hop and stuff of that nature too.
Right.
So it's like I never really understood that. Do you have any theories as to what can be done to push that forward?
I never understood that myself either, because even with other Hispanics, for example, Mexicans, and this is something that I'm sure anyone has heard before, Mexicans don't get along with Puerto Ricans. Mexican and Puerto Ricans have a feud and they hate each other. I have like 2 Puerto Rican friends that I'm so close with, and I absolutely love these girls. So I really think that at one point, I don't know when, how, where, at one point, someone just decided to pick up on the fact that we're just going to say that these people hate each other and we're going to run with it. And it has continued for no particular reason. But I think also some of it has to do with the fact that in some cases, some of my people, for example, feel like other Hispanics get a lot more special treatment. For example, I have heard one of my dad's friends before. He said that, Salvadorians, Guatemalans, they come into the U.S. and they don't care. The government doesn't care too much to make a connection with Mexico, even though we're next door neighbors. They overlook us because we're next door neighbors. Oh, but those Salvadorians, those Guatemalans, they come from Central. They have to cross so many countries to get into the U.S. Poor them. They get special treatment. And when in reality, well, you're getting special treatment too. You're also here in the U.S. living a great life. You also are here legally. You're getting special treatment too. Where is that mentality coming from?
You never know where all the complaining's really coming from for real. Because I know it's like, okay, we got Mexicans, we got Salvadorians, Guatemalans, Nicaraguans. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right.
Nicaraguans.
Okay, we're pretty close. Hondurans and Puerto Ricans and Dominicans. And there's just so many different Spanish, Hispanic type so many places of Hispanic origin.
Absolutely.
And so I think there was one comedian that kind of broke down all the differences and everything. I guess like there's a certain way how they communicate. I know Cubans tend to have a tendency to speak very, very quickly.
They speak so fast. They speak so fast.
Very strong. And then it just goes on from there. Can you really list any other differences between the cultures that's kind of like, that maybe some people might not pick up on? I just think Spanish is Spanish, so it's like.
Well, no, definitely. But certain slang, we use certain slang. Like I'll never forget. Back in high school, I had a Colombian friend, and she told me that she was going to pick up her brother from the airport. She said it in Spanish. She said, I'm going to coger. Voy a coger a mi hermano. Coger for us Mexicans means fuck. So when she said she was going to coger her brother, you can imagine why I turned and looked at her and said, what? And then she said, yeah, and in English, she switched to English and she said, yeah, I'm going to go pick him up at the airport. And I'm like, girl, that does not mean coger for us means fuck. You just said you was going to fuck your brother. So there's definitely certain differences between slang. There's also differences between how we speak and even how we look. If we're being honest, not every Hispanic looks the same. And one of the things that bothers me the most is when people look at me, they say, oh, you don't look Mexican. Well, what does a Mexican look like? Because if you think about it, I know in your mind, you think short, brown-skinned, but there's a lot of, in our history, Spaniards. The Spaniards conquistadors came into Mexico. So a lot of Spaniard influx went into Mexico way back, in the early colonization years. So naturally, there's going to be Mexican people who are also fair-skinned like I am, who also have green eyes. Plus, my grandfather, may he rest in peace, my mom's dad, he looked full American. I kid you not, whenever he was in America, whenever he would come and visit us, people spoke to him in English because he was my skin tone, green eyes, like beautiful emerald green eyes, I kid you not. And a fair-skinned or a fair light, what am I saying?
Got a blondish type hair.
His hair was light, right? Not necessarily full on blonde, but it was lighter. It was much lighter brown.
Like a very light brown.
Like a very, very light brown.
Almost like kind of reddish to a certain degree.
Almost. So people would confuse him with American. He's full Mexican. Literally full Mexican. Yeah. So I think definitely the way we talk, the slang, the food is so good.
Oh no, I bet. I know. I had some of the food. I know there was like a restaurant within because they always have like a restaurant within like the compare foods. Like there was one towards the right and everything. I especially like the rice, and they eat plantains too. Like in my family, we eat plantains. So it's like any place that eats plantains, I'm like good. Cause like then it's like we're almost. But yeah, that's another thing we got in common. Like later the plantains and the rice, like a lot of like the beans and rice. Like we eat like a lot of that same stuff.
We eat a lot of the same staple foods. Literally,
it's just different. Like a different seasoning.
We add different seasonings. We prepare it different, but it's literally the same staple food. Yeah,
literally for sure. And it's just like, where was I gonna go with that? Okay, like food's the same. We're talking about like how like Oh yeah, that's right. There's other people that are Mexican that people might not know of. I know. Have you heard of a comedian by the name of Louis C.K.?
I don't think I've heard of him.
Oh, if you were like, he's probably blackballed right now because he did a whole lot of weird stuff. But actually, he looks like like Irish, literally bald, like reddish hair and everything, like just white.
And
And
speaking of wrestling, you're a wrestling fan, so Canelo Alvarez. Well, I think he's boxing, not wrestling.
Yeah, he is. He is boxing.
But red hair, fair.
Yes, that's a good example.
Right,
Yes.
he's a great example. He has the red hair. He has a skin tone. His skin tone, I think, is even lighter than I, like a shade or two lighter than I am.
Like he looks Irish.
He looks Irish.
Very Irish.
Completely Irish, but he's Mexican.
And it's like, did Irish people also?
At one point, I'm pretty sure at one point, because if we're being honest, a lot of Europeans did influx the Americas, the Caribbean, the what have you. So I wouldn't be surprised if there at one point was an influx of Irish people into Mexico. Not that I'm aware. You're mostly aware of the Spaniards, they're the
conquistadors.
They're the biggest population of Europeans that invaded Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
But that's interesting. I wonder if there was any Irish people at one point. But he looks Irish.
Okay, no, for real. And it's just like, it's so crazy that you even bring up boxing and everything, because it's like one guy that actually was one of my favorite. I think he was the one that beat what's his name? He looked kind of chubby, he was very chubby, kind of heavy set. No one thought he was gonna be like the first Mexican whatever champion boxing, but he did. What was his name? Oh my gosh, because it was so crazy. He beat one dude. Dang, this is really gonna be racking my brain. I really came here unprepared and everything. He was big dude, kind of heavy set. He's a boxer and everything. Not Canelo Alvarez, but he was just like.
Not Canelo.
He won the first whatever. He was the first Mexican in the world. Okay, yeah, first Mexican world heavyweight champion in boxing.
First, that's his title. First Mexican.
He was the first. That's not his title, but he did when he was the first world champion, like the first Mexican world champion. It was like they called him the Destroyer, basically.
First Mexican
world boxing champion. She's looking it out right now.
Boxing. Because I need to know.
Because my brain's not a supercomputer.
First Mexican world boxing champion, Juan Zurita.
That wasn't him. That's not the person. But the recent guy. He beat. Is it okay if I can see your phone?
Sure. No, absolutely.
I'm so bad because it's like I know his name. He got into a fight. Hold on a second. Let's just say
Oscar de la Hoya. No, Oscar de la Hoya. Is he Mexican?
He is Mexican. He's Andy Ruiz. I forgot.
Andy Ruiz.
Oh my gosh! How did I just remember? You said random. I just remember. Yeah, Andy Ruiz. That was his name.
Really?
How did I forget Andy Ruiz? Yeah, look up. You can look him up on YouTube. Actually, we can pause. You can actually look at the actual video.
Andy Ruiz Jr.
Yeah, Andy.
Oh, here he goes. Professional.
You don't remember him? I know you remember him.
I don't remember him.
You gotta look up the video. You gotta look at the video. It was
He's
so
fairly
crazy.
young. He's only 33. Okay.
He won it recently. It was crazy. It was such an upset. It was insane.
Oh wow!
Like he fought the dude twice.
6'2", tall.
Yeah, very tall.
That is tall. 6'2". That is very, very tall.
I'm 6'1".
No, you're not.
Yeah,
well, we're sitting down.
Yeah,
so
we're sitting down, so it's like my legs and everything. Yeah, but yeah, I'm very much 6'1".
I am. If I'm being honest, I'm 5'3". My license says 5'5", and that's the height that I go with.
Okay, because what, heels? You just wear heels?
So I'm 5'5". I do wear heels.
Okay, that's probably the different makes her.
What made you think I wear heels? Because I'm Latina, and you just knew that I wear heels.
No, because you literally said you were 5'3", and it's like you bill yourself at 5'5". So on your driver's license it said that, so you must have wore heels that day.
No, I did. Okay. I'll be honest. I started wearing heels when I was 14. Okay. That's definitely one of the Mexican or Latino stereotypes.
I didn't know. I just thought people like heels.
I love walking in heels. I love walking. I'm wearing flats now because it's, we're doing a podcast. Right. Yeah. It's no big deal. But I love wearing heels. On any given day, I'd rather wear heels. It gives me a little extra height. And also, believe it or not, I'm more comfortable wearing heels just because I've always worn them. Since I was young, right? Since I was 14.
I never really understood what was the aesthetic and everything. Because, don't y'all want, dudes to be taller? So it's why do y'all want to be taller, too?
Well, definitely it's the quinceañera. Because, right, it's the process. for us wearing heels, it's the process into womanhood, because that's when you're a woman, you're wearing heels. And then for me, I started wearing heels at 14 because I was having a quinceañera. So when I turned 15, I was having this grand old party. Nice. And I was like, I'm going to be wearing heels with my dress, so I might as well get used to them. Okay. Right. But no, for us Latinas, it's a rite of passage. You know, you wear heels and you're a woman, and you know, you get to flaunt yourself and look at me, world, in my high heels.
That is so. And quinceañeras is only like a woman thing. They ain't got no quinceañeras for boys.
You know, nowadays they are incorporating boys. I have gone to a few quinceañeros.
Quinceañeros, okay.
Right? Because it's for boy. If it's a niño, it's O. So I've gone to a few quinceañeros. It's not the same. You don't get to, you know, as a girl, you see the big, beautiful princess type dress.
Sweet 16,
and, right. And you don't see that with the boys. They still look nice and handsome with their tuxedos, but it's not the same. Okay. So they're incorporating that. They're incorporating the boys into these celebrations, but traditionally it's a girl thing.
Yeah, I don't know, dudes. When we get older, we just want money. like I swear, it's just like, I don't know, man. Like even like for Christmas, it's like, dude, all I want is just some money. Y'all can hook me up with some money. I can go to the studio and get some studio time and do music again. Like literally, money is just all I need.
Right.
Really. Like I guess the thought would be good and everything, but so we got a PlayStation 4 with some games that we barely ever play that. My brother plays it because he's younger, but it's like when I get older, it's just like, you know, life became a video game. I can't be playing in a fantasy world, and then it's just like I got like certain bills.
I got bills to pay. I don't live in a fantasy world. I live in the real world.
Yeah, real world became a whole lot of goals and achievements.
For sure.
So it's just like, well, that's crazy. You want to go into detail about the whole quinceañera like process, like where it like began or whatever, why they just chose consider?
Sure. No, absolutely. Yeah. I would love to. I had a quinceañera. Yeah, no, I should have brought my pictures. I would have shown you. Anyway.
I mean, the podcast ain't gonna see it. So
that's true. That's true. Okay. Well, no, it actually started off in Mexico, and a lot of Latin American countries do celebrate it now. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a Mexican thing, but it did start in Mexico. It was actually an Aztec tradition. Mm-hmm. They would present their daughters or the young girls of the community of the village when they were 15, because back then it was, she is now 15, she can wed, and she is now fertile to have kids. Okay. Mind you, right, that was the original tradition. We don't necessarily look at it that way. Nowadays, it's more of your parents showing you off to their families and their friends. Like look at my beautiful daughter. Like, I raised her, and this is what I did that. Look at her. I did that. That's my work right there. Okay.
All right. That's still pretty cool. I guess it's more very swell with pride and everything. So it's like, yes. I guess it is. So would you say that women are kind of held more on a pedestal in the Mexican community?
Gosh, yes and no. Women are definitely more than the men. They're more, daddy's princess or daddy's little girl. It's like to the 10th power when you're Latina, like truthfully, not necessarily, in some cases, in my personal case, not spoiled. My dad definitely does not throw money at me just on a regular basis just because I go, and I'm not like Hillary Banks, Daddy, I need $300 for a new hat. Mm-hmm. No, that's not the case. Not in my case, but Dad and I, we definitely have we have the strongest connection, more so than him and my brother. However, that comes with a good thing and a bad thing, because since we're held to certain standards, our parents are always going to be a lot more strict on us. Definitely a lot more strict.
I can relate. Oldest ones, you got to.
Look, and this is a conversation that I've had with so many of my other Hispanic girlfriends. Okay. Regardless if you're Salvadorian, if you're Mexican, your parents are always going to be stricter on you as a woman, especially a firstborn female of the family, because you simply cannot fuck up. Literally. I am so sorry to break your little bubble. This is, the parents talking. Sorry. I'm so sorry to break your bubble, but you are not going to fuck up. You are the first child. You are the representation of me as a parent because you're the first child.
Yeah, no, I can see
So
that.
it's a good thing and a bad thing.
Well, I can
We
definitely see that. Yeah.
right, we are held at a pedestal, but that pedestal is good and it's bad.
Yeah, I notice there's a whole lot of like with imagery, and I feel like that kind of connects with racism to a certain degree. I feel like y'all seem very, very focused on imagery, which is crazy. You know what I noticed? Right. Yeah, it's just like, what do you think? Why do you feel like image is such a like a huge thing in the Mexican community?
That's a really good question because sitting here thinking about that, it's true. Like even as little girls, your hair is done, your dress is nice and ironed and pleated, and your shoes are clean, and you got the little bows on them, and like you look when you step out the house, you look good. And so that carries on into my life. You'll never ever see me in just like sweats and Uggs. Never.
Honestly, to the best. Yeah.
But I do. That's a really good question, and it's making me think. Why do we place such high emphasis
on just the image aspect in terms of just in regards to how you carry yourself and just everything in general, because it's just even in the Liberian community, it just always feels like like you do reflect your parents to a certain degree, where it's just like it's almost, I don't want to say obsessive and everything, but it's like even when we try to compete with other people, it's like that's y'all competition, that's y'all fight. I don't really care so much about what the next person does or whatever, because I'm not the one keeping up with them, y'all are. So how can I really measure up with that and everything? But it's like we always had to keep the back of our mind. It's like our folks like to brag, our folks like to
they do,
and they always discuss even you to other houses. So even like I always felt like I was the one that was like the only one where it's like they'd be like my mom be like, oh, so and so's kids doing this, why aren't you doing this, blah blah blah, where it's like then I go into college and everything and I was able to do that literally when it was just my mom, and people would just like literally like see, like he's going to college and doing all this and got his degree and everything. He only has just his mom and everything and his brother, he's the eldest, and he had to do all this other stuff in between. So sometimes they use us as an example, like me and my brother, because like, we literally had to do it in spite of a broken home type situation. So it's just like you do know that there's a bit of a competition there.
There really is.
And I feel like that kind of sucks out the more happiness side of like, just living life. Like you can enjoy your culture without being focused on who's doing what and being nosy on who's doing whatever.
And keeping up with the Joneses.
Yeah, because it's like you don't focus on yourself. And I feel like that's the root of all happiness. Just focus on yourself and what you need or what makes you happy.
Absolutely. No, I absolutely 100% agree. And I do wonder. That's a really good question. I might have to do some research on that. I love the conversation we're having. It's making me want to do a lot more research.
Yeah, just a Mental Thoughts podcast. You seen the logo, right, for the Mental Thoughts podcast?
Yes, you posted it on the chat, I think.
Yeah,
Did
with the yarn and the brain and everything. Yeah, it's pretty cool stuff, right? Yeah, it's nice. I'm really trying to hit 150 episodes, so it's just like you got to put something that's actually like eye-popping that makes people think. It was really just an idea at first. I put on my vision board, and the next thing I started.
105. So really,
105.
if you were to flip the numbers, then it would be your 150.
maybe we got 45 more to go and everything, so it's like I'm gonna just keep going and everything. It's just it's something I really dedicate myself to and stuff of that nature. What are some interests that you have personally, because I know we've been talking about a whole lot of like general stuff about culture? What are some personal things that interests that you pretty much get into?
Gosh, going back to the image thing, I love fashion.
Okay.
I am so interested in fashion. I love fashion. I've seen, do you want me to hold it?
I know, so you ain't gonna hold it. I love holding it because it's like, sure? Yeah, sure, I don't mind it.
Okay.
I don't mind it. Sometimes I put it on just to see like where we're at in time and everything. So I was trying to check.
Oh, we're doing really good time.
Pretty good time, yeah. Pretty good time.
Right? Yes, and it hasn't been any like dead awkward silence. I love it. We're doing good, Toasty.
Yeah, pretty well.
Okay, my interest, back to the image thing. I love fashion. I love fashion. I literally, before I came out here, I was on YouTube. And I was saving the videos that I wanted to see for later because it's fashion week, and so I'm taking a look at the Moschino fashion show when I get home, and I'm taking a look at Chloe fashion show when I get back home. I love fashion. I just love putting an outfit together, and I love like mixing things. I love fashion. Love it. So I do that. I also really like hiking.
Okay.
I love just being out in nature because so as a little girl growing up in Mexico, I was constantly surrounded by nature.
Oh, okay.
Like I never spent any time indoors until I moved to the U.S. And that's when like it literally was a 180. I was no longer playing in my grandparents' orchards. I was no longer, so I do enjoy spending time outdoors. I don't like to like get down and dirty, mind you, but I enjoy spending time outdoors. So I like hiking, love fashion, reading.
Okay.
I like reading, and don't laugh at me. Naps. I like napping. I like taking a nap.
That's not something to laugh at someone for. I'm actually envious because sometimes I'll be like, dang, I wish I could go to sleep. But then it's like all these other things. But yeah, when you're asleep, you're asleep. And it's like, but you be planning your naps out?
I do. Right. So it's not like I can just, put myself on break at work and take a 2-hour nap. It doesn't work like that. So, but I enjoy a good nap. Yeah, I do.
At least you can have more peace in your naps. My naps be more disruptive. Like I'll be laying in the bed like, okay, I got a couple things to do. Maybe I could probably just rest for a little bit. And then be like 5-6 hours. Like, no, I wasted the day.
Yeah.
When I take it now, I'm gonna be up all night. It's just like it becomes more stressful because you went to sleep at a different time. Like, oh man, I can't do the things I want to do.
You gotta set your alarm because I would. Trust me, if I could, I would go to sleep for a full 8 hours if I could. During the day.
No, really?
During the day. Like even I could sleep 8 hours at night. I would be awake for like a good 4-5 hours and sleep another 8 hours. I kid you not. That's me.
I'm taking so many melatonin and everything just so I could be able to get that full 8 hours. What? I can't get full hour. My sleep schedule is so all over the place. I will sleep for like a good 4 hours. Wake up in the middle. So I'd be like 5 a.m. in the morning. Okay, I guess I'll be productive. I'll probably do some push-ups, maybe go for a run. Something like that. And then out of nowhere, I'll just take like another 4 hours out of nowhere. It's like, it's so scattered. It's just, I want to be like 3 hours. It'll be like 5 hours. It'll be like, I never got a full good even 8 hours.
Do you have like an Apple Watch? Because, it tracks your sleep. It would be interesting to see your sleep pattern on there. Your Apple Watch would probably be like, so confused.
It'll look like Tetris.
Like Tetris. Like, what is happening?
What is wrong? Like, what is going on here for real?
Probably.
I don't even know what's my sleep schedule. Like, I don't know. It's just, when you become an adult, dude, it's just, I miss the times where it's just like my parents used to tell me when to go to bed. So I don't want to go to bed. But you end up sleeping anyway.
Yeah.
Like, it'll be like after 30 minutes, like, well, I've been in this bed, might as well sleep. And then just like, you go to sleep. Like, it's like, maybe you might hide your Game Boy sometime, but you go to sleep. Like, eventually. Like, you might say, like, you'll play a good, 30 minutes, but don't mess up your sleep schedule that bad.
Right.
And everything, but like when I tell you, dude, my sleep schedule was so bad nowadays, and now I'm about to be working like third shift at the hospital.
Oh no!
So from 11 to 7. That's not a problem. All I did like one Coca-Cola, I'm good. Like it's just like once I'm focused on something, I stay up.
Sleep during the day. It's harder to sleep like an hour or two nap. It's easy during the day, but sleeping like full time frame during the day, it's gonna be a little difficult.
No, you must not know about me because it's like once I get tired, I'm gone. As soon as I get that comforter up and the cold air hit, it's done. It's done. But it just be all over the place. I wish I could plan it a little bit easier. But it's like where I could be able to actually do things when I need to do it and everything. Like, like go to exercise, read a book, and everything. Once I get tired, like I would literally throw it to the next day. There's sometimes I had to reschedule podcasts because I got too sleepy and I fell asleep. Like it's just
that is one of the things where I'm so glad that I don't have any kids and that I can literally if I feel tired and I'm not doing anything, I'll just take a nap.
Yeah,
that's it. That's done. I don't have to worry about who's gonna look out after the kids while I'm taking this nap. I literally
in your 20s, bro. Like it's just we're also just big kids now. Like,
we are
because like the way our like parents was on when they were growing up, it's just different from the climate now. Like everybody is kind of weird and everything. People are kind of childish. Immaturity levels are just not where it's supposed to be. Some people just kind of like develop narcissistic personality disorders, which is really just childishness when you just don't address it one this time. So it's like a lot of people are just different or just kind of borderline psychotic. It's hard to really kind of build a home, date people and everything. Right. Everyone's just kind of weird. So it's like, I know like you kind of like stressed that earlier. It's like, oh, you're not married at this age. Like, yeah. Even for me at 24, it's like, man, I thought like
stop it. You are so young. You are 24. Stop it.
Yeah, but it's just like, but then it's like I see like Like I mean, you see like a 20-year-old, like man, I wish I had that time back again, and everything. And it's just like like I'm at a weird transitional phase, and like where it's just like it's more like make it or break it type. It's just like,
Right.
will this job set me in the right path? Will I like being at this job? Will I be at a weird environment? Because like I feel like all the job like trauma started with Compare Foods, bro. It's like
okay.
that's where things just got weird, and it's just like that's why I want to get more insight in just like the whole racism dynamic, because it's like I get like I don't speak Spanish, I get I'm black, but it's like after the first couple of times, it's like, dude, I've been working here for 7 months, like we get it, like
Right.
it kind of gets tired and everything. So it's just like, well, there was an issue I had like at work and everything. There was another coworker, because I was basically just a bus boy, just bagged the clothes. You seen them with the little
Right.
vest and everything.
Yeah.
That's what I was doing. And there was this other guy that was working at the job too, but there was like some people that are like my managers and everything, like some were black like me too, but they would go around and say like weird things and saying like I was like stupid and everything to like my coworker and stuff like that.
Wow.
It was weird. Like they were trying to look for things for me to mess up to capitalize on that thought, which is weird. And I was a kid, but I didn't know who could I report it to. I could report to HR, but who would believe me? You know what I'm saying? And it was weird, and it's like the same kid and everything would kind of like whisper, "Ooh, stupid, stupid, stupid," and like everything like that. But it wasn't. That's not what really set him off to really like kind of like mess with me on the job. See, there was actually this girl, like this Mexican girl working at the job, and she was cool. We had like a couple interests and everything. She liked anime, I did too, and everything. So like she was like a really chill type of person. Granted, she was beautiful and everything. She was from California, I get it. But I feel like she felt some type of way, because like I guess we would like kind of talk from time to time, but like on some platonic stuff, nothing too deep. And he would like make up rumors about like me like having like a relationship with another dude at the job and everything. To kind of, I think, to throw her off and stuff of that nature. And it was always a whole lot of awkwardness. I feel like she kind of noticed things like that too. So it's like we never really like I was like stayed cool over time. I think there was a point where she had to like kind of block me off social media just because of things of that nature. Yeah, and it was just tough and everything. She was really, really cool and everything, but it's just like, I didn't think that was really necessary, and to be doing all types of stuff. So it's just like, because I didn't say anything about him to her. So but it was kind of unbalanced. And like, I just never understood, like, why are people kind of threatened by stuff like that? I never really got that. Like the whole, whether if it just be like, I know I had a Mexican friend for sure in the neighborhood. His name was Angel. And everything. I don't know where he's at right now, but it's just like, I want to try to come by, like probably like visit or whatever. And he say, like, oh, I can't because my parents are a little bit too racist and everything. And it's just like, yeah. What's your insight in regards to those situations and stuff? Like,
It's interesting that you just mentioned your friend Angel who has parents, because a lot of times it is those parents that are dictating their kids' friendships, or not necessarily dictating, but they will say, don't be friends with this crowd, be friends with that crowd. And a lot of times it is just based on simple skin tone. As to why that is, it's such a close mentality. As I mentioned before, white people are some of the most racist, unfortunately, some of the most racist people. To them, a white friend, it's always better to have a white friend, because your white friend is probably off, he or she is going to be off doing better, going to college, possibly in the future he or she could hook you up with a job, whereas your other friend, your black friend, he or she might end up, as we know, in jail. So, and it's not me saying that. I'm certainly not saying that. But that is the mentality.
That's the image that they push.
That is the image. That is the mentality.
I was raised on and everything.
One of my friends, one of my really, really close friends, she once told me, she confided in me, this was years ago, she confided in me, she said that her mom specifically told her, and at this point we were like in her early 20s, we were not even thinking about marriage, but her mom literally told her, when you get married, you can only get married to another Hispanic, preferably Mexican because we're Mexican, or to a white man, because I want pretty grandchildren. That's what her mother told her. I want pretty grandchildren. I don't want dark-skinned grandchildren. You're going to marry either another Hispanic because it'll be easier. We're from the same culture. We speak the same language. Or if you want to marry out, out of the culture, it has to be a white man, because I want pretty grandchildren.
That is
Who says that?
that's very sad and
That
everything.
is horrible.
Yeah,
That is absolutely horrible.
because like my brother is actually in an interracial relationship with a white girl and everything. Well, they've been together for like 7 years, I think now, maybe
Oh,
going 8 since
wow.
high school sweethearts and stuff of that nature.
Mm.
But like her family is like they're like kind of like mountain hippie type. You know, they don't really care about things like
Right.
color. They just love my brother because it's just his personality and everything.
Yeah.
And they had
Oh.
then like him and her kind of had the same share for hip hop. I'll kind of put him on to and things of that nature. But it's just like it's just crazy how like race can like play into like a lot of things like of that
It
nature.
absolutely does.
And it's just like how people might see things a certain way, like, oh, you're living with it because you don't want to be with that, or you don't want to be with this, or whatever. But really, just liked each other and everything.
Right.
And it's just like it's crazy how parents really like put pressure. It's like, oh, you can't be with this,
They
you can't
do.
talk to this, and they always instill too when you're really, really young. Which is, I know they're trying to raise certain values into you, but I feel like when you have children, you really have to raise them to just kind of find people that makes them
Right.
happy.
People that makes them happy.
Yeah.
Absolutely. No,
And,
my parents have never, like my one friend who I just told you about, whose mom told her you can only marry white because I want pretty grandkids. My parents have never, ever in their life ever said something like that to me. My dad, one of the like most heartwarming things he ever told me was, I have treated you like a princess your entire life. All that I would ever want is for a man, once I'm gone, I would only want for a man to step into those shoes and treat you as a princess as well. Like my parents, because I'll be honest, I've dated Hispanic, I've dated Black, I've never dated Asians or white men.
which explains why you're so cool. It really explains why you're so cool.
You're so funny. But no, I've dated outside my race, and I have brought those men, those Black men, those Hispanic men that I've dated. They've met my parents, both the Hispanic, both the Black. My parents have never said anything negative about any one of them, unless there was something negative to say. In one occasion, my mom actually did very much say, I don't like this man for you, or this boy for you. I don't like this boy for
Based
you.
on personality.
And she went on and described it to me. Not once. The list that she provided for me did not include the skin color of this man. Not at all.
Okay.
Yeah. No,
Okay.
my parents and my brother, he's 8 years younger than me. He has a girlfriend who's white, and she's over at the house all the time. Like my parents are not. They're so cool about that, and I am so truly blessed that they are not part of that close-minded Hispanic mentality where the way you look, your skin tone is always going to be more important than your personality and your mindset. I'm incredibly blessed. I really don't know what I would do if I did have parents like my one girlfriend whose mom is telling her you can only marry white. I don't know what I would do if I had parents like that. Life would be tough.
It's so crazy and everything. Because I know, like, growing up, I guess it's just like, I feel like it was just, I don't really know if I want to go into detail what my parents really preferred and everything, but like I feel like my mom especially would try to clown like me or my brother and everything. Like, oh, like we feel like we only got preference for like a white woman, right? But you would like force us to go to these predominantly white schools. It was so weird and everything, which I hated going to the predominantly white schools and everything. I date like whatever. Like if you're a cool person and you're cool with me, that's it. That's just point blank where it's at. But it's just like, it's just weird, like how race is just so played in, like regardless of what's what. Wouldn't you just want someone that just kind of just loves your child and everything? Because like in a world where people end up like in abusive relationships and everything, wouldn't it just be good to just be in a relationship that's not draining?
That's loving.
That's loving, regardless.
And respectful, and it has healthy boundaries. And yeah, no.
It's just not in the cards. It's just always like culture.
Right.
And everything, status, image.
And it also has something to do with the fact that for a lot of Hispanics, they do want to retain their original culture. You do live in the U.S. where your kids, if you have kids, your kids are born in the U.S., they are growing up in the U.S., so they're speaking English. They're asking for mac and cheese or a cheeseburger at the dinner table. And so there's already so many different things culture-wise that are getting thrown out the window. A lot of Hispanic parents do advocate for their Hispanic children to marry other Hispanics so that they can retain that culture, because there's already so much change happening and we need to retain this culture. And it's a good thing and a bad thing. I understand where they're coming from, but you chose to move to America. You knew that this would happen. You knew that your children would be exposed to so many other different ethnicities, so many other different cultures. You really thought that you could move to America and just retain that Hispanic heritage. And not to say, you still can retain that Hispanic heritage. I have even some family members who have married outside of their culture and are with a white man or with an Asian woman, and you can still retain your values and your culture. You can have the best of both worlds.
Yeah, no, it's very, very possible. It's not like it's impossible and everything. Because we even got genealogy tests where people can really get their stuff checked and they realize they're like, where their roots pretty much lie within and stuff of that nature. I feel like it's different for a lot of Black American folks and everything because, like a lot of their culture's been kind of stripped away from them, their names and everything. And so like it's more like a rediscovery. Whereas like for Mexicans, it's like it's not that far and everything. It's literally just right down and everything. And then you can just pretty much reconnect with like relatives and stuff and they can just tell you what it is. Like you'll get the full like 24-hour. Or like for me, I'm just here for just 1 hour. But it's just basically stuff of that nature. So I don't feel like that's a viable fear unless you pretty much push them out. Because like as you said about the whole like improving the race situation. Because I know it doesn't really just revolve around just Mexicans too. I think even Indians are on that same thing. I think there's like a situation with like one Indian woman who lived in Trinidad who fell for like a Black African American type man and everything. Which they have a wonderful relationship, multiple children and everything, but they're still she's still excommunicated from her family just because of that. And it's very depressing. But it's like she's still pretty positive. Big house, whole lot of money. It's fine. It's just she just doesn't really talk to her family like that and everything. Have you ever had like a friend who had to go through a situation similar to that?
Honestly, no. And I feel so blessed and so grateful that I've never had that happen to any one of my friends. They would absolutely, undoubtedly have 100% my support. I would never stop talking to a friend over who they're dating. That's not something that has happened. Not with a friend, not with a family member, and I think that's a blessing because you do hear about cases like that, and you're like, how is your family? Like your parents, they had you, your mother birthed you, your mother and your father carried you as a young kid in their arms, they taught you everything, and now they want nothing to do with you because of a person that you fell in love with.
It's very asinine when you think about it, when you really put it into perspective. But that's just how it is, man. That's just how the world is. You can't. I just feel like it's gonna get better in a couple of generations. I feel like we're becoming more open minded throughout for every generation. I feel this is gonna reach a point where we're really or everybody's gonna be at the cookout. Everyone's gonna be there, whether if it's like even like with my brother and his friends, like he has friends that are Puerto Rican, Black, and everything of that nature. I have friends who are white, who are have Hispanic heritage also and everything, and a lot of these people like are my friends too, but kind of near family also. I hope they're at the cookout also, and who knows, maybe our children might mix and then their children will just go on and on from there.
I know for a fact one of my closest friends, my bestest friend from high school, she's Black. And she's at the cookout, and I'm at her cookout, and she's gonna be once we both have kids, because she also doesn't have kids. She's my age, also doesn't have kids. But once we have kids, the mixed kids are gonna be at the cookout too. Like we absolutely do plan on this happening. We're not shutting any doors based on skin tone over here. That is one thing we're not going to do.
Most definitely, yeah, for sure. Because it's such an asinine way. But it's still going to take a process, though, especially for generations for it to be widely accepted and everything. Because the type of discrimination I had to face, like compare foods, like I still got PTSD for this day.
Wow.
Because it's like I just couldn't believe it. Because it's like I never had a problem with anybody Hispanic. So just to know that people have an issue with me and I'm a complete stranger because of the skin and everything, but they try to like reverse into something else. That was so crazy. There was one dude, he was like of Chilean descent, but he looked mostly white, like blonde hair, blue eyes, literally probably what Adolf Hitler had in mind and everything. But it's just like, it was so crazy. It was like people always like to were so hyper focused on everything I was doing. But then this dude was literally stealing money right out of the cash register in front of the cameras and just went on. Like literally.
Just more about his day.
They written me up at that job because like, cause they do this thing where it's like, there's something that's wrong with like the barcode, or when they scan it and they need to find the price, they'll send somebody out to check the price.
Okay.
So I went to go check the price, and there was no tag on the price, but there was somewhere like it's like for cheese and everything. There was like another cheese right next to it that's like probably a similar size and everything. I'm like, okay, let's just take that price. Nothing crazy, right? So when I did that and everything, apparently the cheese that they got was actually 15 cents less. Not big, like a dime and a nickel. They written me up over that in the morning. I'm just like, what did you want? Did they even complain? Cause I would have just literally went in my pocket like, you need a dime 50 cents.
Right.
But it's like they literally written me up for that, and that was so crazy. That's just one of the many instances. It actually goes on from that. Some people try to swindle like eggs and everything, They gave the eggs to like a relative, and they said I gave the eggs to a random person. It's like you told me to give the eggs to that person. It was just a lot.
It sounds like a very toxic work environment, and I'm so sad that you had to go through that. And I really hope you know that we're not all like that. Like we if you had worked at a different location, maybe with different coworkers, it would have been different. So I'm so sorry that that shaped your image, and I'm so sorry that happened to you. We're not all like that.
Oh no, I'm sure. I'm very, very sure. I'm very, very sure. Well, I guess like with PTSD, it's so weird because there's still like a part of you that's just like, I really hope like this person doesn't say anything, or this person doesn't do this or whatever, and everything. Cause I really do appreciate y'all culture. I feel like it's pretty cool and everything with Aztec. There was one show I used to love called Lucha Underground and everything. They went deep with like stuff like Aztec warfare and stuff of that nature.
Oh, cool.
And I thought it was so cool and everything with that. I got also people that I really like, Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero, things of that nature. I really like reggaeton. I think it's really, really cool. Like, I don't know. I know it's like it's kind of surface level and everything with Daddy Yankee and everything, but I thought
Daddy Yankee. Did you hear he's retiring?
Yeah, no, I heard he was retiring and everything, which is like, he's been doing this for a while. So it's just like, people are going to retire eventually. I hope he goes into something else.
No, he needs to do this for years and years and years and years and
you feel
years.
Like he needs to do this forever. And then it'll be too old. Like, it's just like
Daddy Yankee. I love him.
That's great that y'all have like appreciation for y'all artists and everything. That especially with Selena Quinton. That's the one that we all can agree with. It's just
Selena. I was 8 years old when I got introduced to Selena by my dad because we watched the movie together and he showed me some of his music, and I could not. I would go. I would go because she used to wear those bustiers, so like the bejeweled bra. Let's call it what it is. It was a bejeweled bra. So I was a little girl. I would get my little training bras, and I would put like sticky jewels on them, and I would be in my room with my hairbrush, singing and dancing like Selena. And I thought I was hot shit.
Yeah, no, seriously, a lot of Black African Americans love Selena. My mom especially loves Selena. She put the movie on. I'm like, oh wow, this is a good movie. Oh wait, she died.
It's a great movie, Selena. Right? No, J-Lo did a good job on that movie.
She really did her thing on that movie. I really couldn't tell the difference between them.
Right.
It's like, okay, but is she really Selena? Or is it just like, as a kid, I'm like, how did they get Selena into her own movie? And I'm just like, oh, no, that's an actress.
It's an actress. And it was a great choice.
Great choice.
I really don't know. You can like J-Lo, you can hate J-Lo, whatever you feel. I really don't see anyone else playing that role. I don't know if there would be anyone else who would do it as well.
Yeah. Have you seen the Netflix series? I haven't seen the Netflix series yet.
I need to see it. I like the Netflix series, and I like the actress for the Netflix series, but I think the actress, she's young, which I mean, it makes sense because we're seeing in this series, like the younger Selena.
Yeah, Selena was 23 when she passed. Right. So when you realize that's so young, she did a whole lot.
Right. So she's good, but there's just no one like J-Lo playing Selena.
Yeah, like I was just talking to like one of my friends and everything. She's Black and she loves Selena too. And we were talking about, I was like, well, don't even mention Yolanda Salazar in this, because it's just like, because she said like as soon as she get out, it's on and everything. Because it's like, wow, like we really seem to agree on that. So I'm like, why do we disagree on so many things? Because a lot of us, we don't have issues with like any group of people, like African Americans in general. We never really saw. We always were the ones that were just kind of the target of things of that nature, or discrimination. It's like a lot of us didn't choose to be here and everything. I'm African, like my family choose to be here, but even like, Liberia was founded by U.S. slaves. So if you know, a lot of people don't really realize that and everything. And it's just, I feel like even for our country was kind of forsaken also. And it's supposed to be little America, also the America in Africa. And it was just like, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like a lot of us had to deal with all sorts of things, all sides of the struggle. So we don't have time to discriminate against a whole race of people or nothing
Mm-hmm.
like that to do that.
And it's sad that no one wants to sit down and have this conversation. Like me and you, we're having a great conversation. We are figuring out your likes, my likes, how we grew up. It's so sad that a lot of people are so close-minded. They cannot get the past the fact that we have different skin tones, and they don't want to come together and have a conversation, because if you had a conversation, you would realize there's a whole lot more that unites us instead of what divides us.
Mm-hmm. Oh, see, that's actually good. That's such a good line. There's a whole lot that unites us in the West. That's actually really good. Well, we didn't really speak a whole lot about September and the whole Mexican. We speak
Hispanic Heritage Month.
Hispanic Heritage Month. But if there were some quips and quotes that you like to explain about it, like why does it start in the middle of September and then carry on to the middle of October? We want to break down the history a little bit.
Gosh, I wish it, because it does get overlooked. Hispanic Heritage Month does get overlooked a lot because it doesn't start from the beginning of a month and goes on to the end of a month. So it gets overlooked a lot. But the reason that happened, the reason it starts on the middle of September and ends at the middle of October, a lot of the Hispanic countries, their Independence Days fall during those dates. A lot of Hispanic countries, for example, for us, Mexico, our Independence Day is the, oh my gosh, it's the 16th. Oh,
that's my brother's birthday.
Is it the 16th?
Yeah.
Is Mexican Independence Day on this? Oh my gosh, they're about to revoke my Mexican card.
That's okay. Don't revoke her Mexican card, please. She listens to Selena. She listens to Daddy Yankee. All
Please
that.
don't revoke. Please don't revoke my Mexican card. No, it's either the 15th or the 16th. I want to say the 16th.
I think the
September
Liberian,
16th.
the Liberian Independence Day is July 26th, I think.
So, and then after us, it's, I forget which other country, but the point is a lot of these Hispanic countries have Independence Day or celebrate their Independence Day on those dates of Hispanic Heritage Month.
Within those span
So that's
days.
why, within that span. Thank you. So that's why the Hispanic Heritage Month was started at such a weird time and ends at such a weird time. It's because of when these countries celebrate their Mexican or their Independence Day.
Okay, and it's just like pretty much Mexico basically got their independence from Spain, obviously all from Spain.
Sure did.
And everything, and so it's just like describe. I know you weren't there for the battles and everything, but just like describe just like, was it really tough for them to really get their independence? Like, how many years did it take? Like, what?
I mean, you can imagine, and it's not just with Mexico, but a lot of these countries, it was tough to get independence from their conquistadors or whatever, because we were a gold mine, if we're being honest. And not just Mexico, a lot of these other countries, they had goods. They had, I can only speak for Mexico. We had gold. We had chocolate. Chocolate is very much a an Aztec thing.
Okay. Cocoa, basically.
Cocoa, yeah. Right, yes. And so you had all of these goods. So of course it's the European powers, they want to grab onto this, and you are not going to let go because you're my little gold mine. You're the goose that's laying the golden egg. When in reality, I might be the goose that's laying the golden egg, but you're not doing anything for me.
Nothing.
So
at
then
all.
we need to cut ties.
Yeah, man, that's the kind of, I feel like a lot of African countries get to carry that same sense of independence too. I mean, we got our independence also, but at the same time, we didn't really do much with it. A lot of us did it. We kind of like went to civil war amongst each other and just started arguing over dumb stuff, and that's what really messed up for us, So like, anybody wants to know, I even spoke about this on a previous episode with the Nigerian woman and everything. We really spoke about a whole lot of those natures of why there's so much civil war. A lot of us were like the children of people who had severe PTSD because of these civil wars. Like, that's a very scary situation. When your school blows up and then you don't know what happens to your classmates. Some of them die, some of them go missing, you never see them again.
Oh, that's sad.
It's very depressing. But it's like, I feel like a lot of us had to live under that. So it's just like, like having to live under that, there's a sense of immaturity that comes with PTSD when people see traumas at a very young age. They kind of maintain that same age in their mind. So it's like, in terms of reasoning with them, it's like they think, because they're an adult, they can just do whatever and everything. So you kind of had to raise them as you're raising yourself at the same time. For a lot of us, had to deal with that and stuff of that nature. But we already spoke about this on the last episode. But anyway, going deeper. So, what are some things that y'all do for Hispanic Heritage Month and everything? What are some things that, or maybe some dishes, whatever? You can even go into detail about Cinco de Mayo right after it too.
Right. No, Hispanic Heritage Month. It's a lot. Like there's always parades. There's always, especially in those communities or those cities that have a larger Hispanic population. There's always going to be parades. There's always actually Charlotte the football club, Charlotte Football Club. This what's today? Thursday. So just yesterday, Wednesday or Tuesday, one of those days, they had a Hispanic heritage thing where everyone came and everyone was able to take pictures with the players, and they got their autographs, and the parades are so much fun. I wish that Charlotte is great. We do have a large Hispanic population, but something like LA, for example, LA goes wild with parades. They go wild with food. They go crazy. So I really wish I could experience that. I might go to.
Maybe go to LA. Maybe one day.
For Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yeah, put it on the bucket list. I know.
Put it on the bucket list.
Yeah, I guess for Liberians, I feel like our populace, I think it's the largest is within Washington, D.C., which is where I'm trying to move to.
Okay.
And also in Philadelphia. I feel like Philadelphia is most known for like them having crazy parties and everything for Liberian Independence Day and stuff. I think there's a page on Instagram that kind of specializes in those parties for Independence Day. Like, I think they're gonna throw it in Houston next year. I don't really want to go, but then they're having.
Houston's a good vibe.
Definitely, I know Hispanic. Well, a lot of Mexicans that were born in Texas, what they call Tejanos and Tejanas.
Tejanos, right? Tejanos and Tejanas, right?
And you feel like from like the states that a lot of Mexicans kind of like reside in and everything. Whether it's like what's the states that usually reside the most? I know one of it's Texas and everything.
For sure, Texas.
And then California.
For sure, California, Texas, and California are the states with the most Mexicans. Arizona would be number 3, I think. And then, right, so really like from Texas to California, that's really where you get the majority of Mexicans residing.
Oh, okay.
Right, and the reason for that is because it's so close to the border. You cross the border and here I am.
Okay, yeah, no, most definitely. And it's just like, but what about places like Louisiana or Florida?
Florida, you might get a couple Mexicans in Louisiana, yeah, but Florida is mainly Cubans, Colombians, Venezuelans. So mainly people from South America go into Florida, and then Caribbean, so Dominicans, Puerto Ricans, they go into New York.
Okay.
New York, Boston, like northeast. They flux northeast.
Yeah, I never understood. Why do Puerto Ricans seem to live in New York and up north a whole lot more?
Right. The climate is so different, right?
Not like just the climate. It's just way up there. You know, it's just like. But I would ask the same question for a lot of Liberians in Minnesota. I don't know why they like.
Why Minnesota?
I don't know why they like being there. It's just there's so many over there. I'm like, why? I guess because job opportunities might play into that too. But it's just like, yeah. It's like, okay, so I know Mexicans are pretty much. Are there any like certain cultures in with Tejanos and Tejanas pretty much growing up in Texas and stuff of that nature? Is there certain cultural differences between California Mexicans and Texas Mexicans?
Yes, no, definitely. And it's interesting. Going back to Selena, it's interesting. There was a scene in the movie, you might remember, where her dad, he's getting frustrated. He's like, you have to be more Mexican than the Mexicans, and you have to be more American than the Americans. It's really interesting. Tejanos and Tejanas have really, it's almost like they have come up with their own culture to an extent, because even their food, it's reminiscent of Mexican food, but it's not like, I'm so sorry to break this to anyone. I'm so sorry. World shattering. I'm about to deliver some world shattering news. A chimichanga is not Mexican food.
Okay.
So, it's something that the Tejanos came up with, So, their food, it's reminiscent of Mexican food, but it's not fully Mexican food. And also their main language is Spanglish. A lot of Tejanos do speak, like Selena. Selena was not fluent in Spanish, but she could spit a little here and there. So it was very much Spanglish.
Oh.
So it's a little different. It's almost like they're developing their own little subculture.
Okay. What do you think it's like in California? You think it's just like just the kind of the same way?
In California, it would be the same way, right?
Just
Because
in
you
their own
still
flavor.
right, just their own different thing as well. Yeah.
Lowriders and everything. Lowriders is a
Exactly, with the
California
lowrider.
thing.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, it is a California, and like the cholo vibe, the white wife beater with like the pants and
Yeah.
right, and the cholo mentality. Yeah,
The cholo
The
mentality.
cholo.
I think they try to. I don't want to say they copied it, but I think that some of it kind of falls in Japan. I don't know what's up with Japan. It's like there's such fans of like things that goes on in America. Like they have like a little black culture thing, like some cholo culture thing here, and everything. It's
Can
just
you
like
imagine Japanese men dressing like cholos?
they do that. You can seriously look it up. It's so I don't want to say it's bizarre, but it's just like because it's like you like what you like. I mean, you're like a lot of us like anime and stuff of that nature. So it's just.
True.
What do you say you like anime? You're not much of anime.
I'm not.
Not
Okay.
into it.
Does Avatar: The Last Airbender count as anime?
Yeah, in a sense, but it's like American anime. That's like American
Okay.
based.
Well,
But it is a good show though. But a wonderful show.
that's as far as I go.
Did you get into Legend of Korra?
I didn't get into Legend of Korra.
It's on
I
Netflix.
didn't like it. I didn't like it. I mean, I watched. I did watch like a couple of episodes, but it's not the same. It's not like Avatar: The Last Airbender. You know, his people were killed off by the evil Fire Lord. It's not the
seriously.
same.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good. But it's like I feel like I learned to like it because I learned to appreciate it for different reasons. Kind of like how instead of like there wasn't like a main villain and everything.
Right.
Like how like in the first obviously it was the Fire Lord that had to be. They had to get ready, learn, destroy, beat the Fire Lord, stop the war. That's amazing. But in this one, it was like after the war, like trying to fix all the little itty bitty like civil issues that they had. So I feel like it was more reflecting of real life and everything. We're not within a warring period, but we still have civil issues we got to face. You know, like in the first season, I think it was like Ammon who wanted to push the sense of communism and everything, but she didn't call it communism. Every season kind of reflected a certain like governmental like organized. I don't know how to say government. Some kind of reflects some type of government organization. Where, like for the first one, it was like communism with Ammon trying to take everybody's bending away and everything. And then the second season, it was what was it? Unilock trying to like this theism, trying to like become like a dark avatar and take over the world that way.
So it was different villains. It wasn't just
different
like
every
the
season.
Fire Lord.
Yeah. And the third one, it was anarchy. Was here trying to literally dismantle all the like the politics and the kingdoms and the Earth Kingdom and everything to really like push like the world to basically be just how it should be, an anarchist way. Because I feel that was the one that was more fair for everybody. And then the fourth one with Kuvira trying to unite the Earth Nation as a dictator and then take over the world through that way. So like maybe they take it. It's really, really good stuff. Once you start appreciating like the little things and everything, like what makes it really, really good is like, okay, I can relate to this person. She really struggles a whole lot. She fails a couple times. And so it's more relatable. Like it's Avatar for adults, basically, when you think about it.
Interesting.
Yeah, like Avatar's good for the kids, but this one's good for the adults. Like, you know, I don't know what the next one's going to look like. Just something to look through.
There's another one coming out. There's another Avatar.
They're going to make a live action one, basically. It's pretty good. No, give it a shot. They're not going to make it like how they made the other one. I didn't even get to watch that one. I couldn't put myself through that pain.
It was bad.
Yeah, I bet it was bad. I bet it was pretty good. But it's going to be different. Now they're going to put more emphasis on it now. Because I think it's going to be behind the Avatar Studios, which is like a new studio. So they're going to put more emphasis and actually focus on like you know, the story building and everything. So yeah, definitely check it out. Definitely. We really talked about Hispanic culture and now we're talking about Avatar.
We covered everything. This is a variety show, people.
This is definitely a show of variety. But since we already passed the hour mark and everything, I gotta get home and do a.
Is it really past the hour mark?
Yeah, we're hour and 15 minutes.
See, time flies when you're having a good conversation.
That's the Mental Threads podcast. That's what it's all about. I appreciate you, Mireya.
I appreciate you.
Yeah, Mireya. Yeah.
No, because that's not how you say
Mireya.
it. Say it again.
Mireya.
I was about to say I appreciate you too. Let me just gather my things in.
No.
And exit left.
You can. No, it's okay. Can you say my whole name for the name?
T.
Middle name. What about the last name?
Okay.
It's okay.
Oh, okay.
T. Dola Quesafili. It's fine. See, we're 1-1 again.
We're gonna call you Toasty.
That's fine. I'm cool with Toasty. I prefer Toasty. It's like a membership card for
But you can call me Mireya.
Mireya.
Yes.
Mireya. Mireya.
Yes.
All right,
Good
cool.
job.
No problem. I was gonna say. All right, but that's it with me and Miss Mireya
Mhm.
and everything. If you have any final words to let the audience know before we go on?
No final words. Just happy Hispanic Heritage Month, and continue to be great. Go out into the world and be kind and show people love, show people kindness. We need more of that in the world.
All right, cool. Thank you very much. And that's it for the Mental Threads podcast. We're sewing in and now we're sewing out. All right, cool. Wonderful.